Through a Mirror by C.S.R.
Day 10/30/27. Date Monday, time 3 p.m. Little bonfire keeps coming around. I accidentally led her here to the firehouse one day. She was looking for me around the volcano, and when I noticed her, I ran off. Of course, she followed. I'm starting to get freaked out. I think that demon that was with her the other day is haunting me or something. At night, I've heard the sound of flapping wings outside, something crawling around, scurrying, a bunch of creepy shit. And none of this started until after I met the thing. Doesn't help that Halloween's tomorrow. I just hope it all stops. I'll light him on fire if he approaches me.
31st of October, 27, Tuesday, 10:06 p.m. Well, tonight was eventful. I went out trick-or-treating around 6 p.m. with some neighborhood kids my age. You're never too old to do it. But that wasn't what was eventful. What was really important was when I visited Ginger of Booth 3 at the firehouse she's been hiding out in. When I arrived at the scene, there was a woman who looked a lot like Booth 3. She was bigger than him, though, and her eyes were maimed by something, covered in scars, so it was obvious that she had become blind. Hello? I spoke to her to get her attention. She sniffed the air and asked,
"Who is there?"
I'm Marlenia, a friend of Ginger. Who are you?
Mother?
Boothie said with his jaw hanging low. The woman suddenly got excited as she called out,
Boo? My dear Boo, is that you? Boo!
Boothie just shook his head as he raised his voice.
Don't call me that. You lost any privilege to even talk to me the moment you left my father. The moment you abandoned me. Your own son.
What?
Ginger cried out in confusion.
But she said I was her daughter.
The woman turned back to the confused girl and responded,
You were my little one. You were even named after me. My name is Daughterly, and your middle name is Dottie.
The woman reached out for Ginger as to caress her.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Daughterly recoiled in fear, the same as Ginger.
After all this time, I finally found you.
How did you find me? You're blind.
I felt a great surge of power, and so I followed it. Something to do with the volcano, I assumed. How strong you are for one who isn't even fully Smarag. How amazing. I am so proud.
What happened to your eyes?
Boothie said in a demanding voice.
Why are you blind?
A house fire caused by... I reunited with a boy from my past after I left your father, but only he was a man at the time. We were able to meet because of a mirror he had. It was a portal to our world. It had such a beautiful white frame with flowers on it. We fell in love and started a new life together. I had Ginger, and then there was a fire. I didn't get out in time to avoid any damage. Part of the roof landed on me and left me blind. I tried to save my husband and Ginger. I guess I wasn't fast enough.
I look nothing like you.
Ginger interjected again.
If I was your daughter, then wouldn't I have some sort of resemblance?
Smarags have amazing bodies. They adjust to the environment. They disguise themselves.
Suddenly, Boothie painfully shouted,
I can't believe you. You Toodle! You replaced me! I thought you left for something different. To have a different life from being a housewife and a mother. Nothing changed, I hope you know. Only the child changed.
Boothie, who was extremely frustrated, then flew off into the night. I wanted to chase him, but I felt it was best to stay and find out more. Of course, Ginger was having none of it, and forced us all to leave. I realized I was overstepping my boundaries. After all, this was a lot to take in.
Day 11/1/27. Date Wednesday. Time 3 a.m. It's a joke, right? Life, one big joke? I don't know if I believe any of this bullshit. But we have the same powers, so maybe it's true? In the mirror, she mentioned it before anyone else. I mean, unless she can read minds. Jesus Christ. Some demon woman that looks like the other demon came to me only a few hours ago. Her name was Daughterly. She said I was named after her, at least my middle name, Dottie. She claimed I was her daughter. Bonnie was there with the other one. He kept calling her his mother. But he seemed to hate her. Like he wanted nothing to do with her. She was blind, said it happened during the fire. The very fire that killed my father and put me in an orphanage. She tried to explain to me that she was from some other world and that she fell in love with my father. She met him when he was a kid, which I find really creepy. He had a mirror, and the way that she described it sounded exactly like the one that Marla had. And this mirror was a portal to her world and this one. She ran away and wanted something more, so she stayed here with my father. And they started a family together. But the guy who called her my mother was from a previous marriage. So he's my half-brother. I kept saying I look nothing like them, but they kept pushing the fact that I was a burner, or something like that, and we had the same powers. That guy one flew off. I think his name was Boo. That's what she kept calling him. Bonnie wanted to chase after him, but she stayed to find out more about Daughterly. She kept trying to caress me and hold me like I was some baby. I kept refusing to let her get close to me. I just wanted everyone to go and leave me alone. I didn't want them to bother me anymore. I kept telling them to leave. Eventually, they all did.
1st of November, 27. Wednesday, 8:45 p.m. I finally was able to get Ginger to go to Utrodesma. In fact, it was her idea. She came to my house and asked to see the mirror. I was surprised at first, but was excited and full of eagerness. I led her to my bedroom and let her observe the mirror. I watched her for a few minutes. It was almost like she was in a trance. I saw her mouth open as though she was about to shout, but stopped herself. Instead, she turned to me and asked,
Do you hear that?
Hear what? I asked.
The chanting, calling, whatever it is. The mirror. I think it's calling my name. Forget it. Sounds crazy.
Not really. Ginger shook her head and walked up to the mirror. She started feeling the frame and then moving her fingers to the glass. Of course, her hand went through and she gave a shriek as she pulled her hand away.
What the hell?
That's what happens. I smiled as she looked back at me with confusion.
Fucking weird.
Go on. Utrodesma is waiting. She looked back at the mirror for a while in silence. But then, ever so hesitantly, she passed through to the other world. I followed shortly after. Welcome to Argentum City. I tried to lighten the mood. Booth 3 actually lives here. Would you like a tour?
Not really.
We started walking around together, but eventually Ginger wandered off without me, so I lost her. She came back to me later, meeting me by the mirror with some man wearing a mask. I didn't trust him. Something about the man made me uneasy. Said his name was Lucian, but I could tell that was a lie. Being around the Karisames have taught me to be good at telling when people are lying. I quickly rushed Ginger back to my room, and she left just as quickly as she got there. She didn't even say goodbye.
Day 11/1/27, date Wednesday, time 11 p.m. I went to the other world, Utrodesma. I went to Marla's house and asked if I could see the mirror. She was very compliant and immediately took me. There it stood on that desk, calling to me. I never thought furniture could do that, but that mirror did. It was so clear. I heard it say my name. It started as a whisper, then began to shout it like a song or a chant. Ginger, 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 Ginger. And it wouldn't stop. I almost yelled at it to shut up. I asked Marla if she could hear it, but she couldn't. I went up to the mirror and felt up its white frame. It had flowers on it and looked so goddamn girly. I kept getting flashes of when I was a baby. The same mirror used to hang over my crib. I remember every detail of it. Then I remember Daughterly arguing with the man. I think it was my father. She took the mirror and I never saw it over my crib again. It was gone forever, up until now. I tried to stroke the glass and my reflection. My instincts were telling me to, but my fingers just went into it. I freaked out, of course, and brought my hand away in fear that something would pull me in. I looked back at Marla and she didn't seem fazed about it at all. She told me it was the portal to Utrodesma that Daughterly talked about, and that was the way to get through it, to touch the glass. I wasn't sure what to make of it. Marla and I stood in silence for a while, but then I thrust my hand through the mirror and fell through it. On the other side was a long window, taller than me. When I looked through it, I could see Marla in her room. I guess it was what was going on currently in her room. She came over and crawled through the portal-y thingy. I had asked her if it was Utradesma, and she said yes. I looked around. The place we were in looked like a city of some sort. It was laced with silver and had a strange colored sky. Marla said it was called Argentum City, and Boothry lived here. She wanted to give me a tour, but I just wanted to wander. Eventually, I accidentally lost Marla and trailed off to some docks. Around the corner of a building, I could have sworn I saw a fish lady making out with some sort of shadow figure, the shape of a woman. I accidentally stepped on something, and the fish lady turned around after hearing me. I came around the corner and saw the person next to her was some guy in a black cloak wearing a skeleton mask over his eyes. There was a strange black collars around both of their necks.
Ah, a human girl,
The man said as he saw me. Funny hearing that, especially from one of you people, I responded. The two looked puzzled and asked what I meant, so I told them about the whole half-human thing. Some of you demons? I guess you're monsters called smaragds or something. Well, some of you people are claiming that I'm one of you. I'm called a burner, so I can start and control fires. The fish lady invited me to come closer to her and her friend. She said her name was Taman and the man and his name was Lucian. But she seemed ever so hesitant about his name, like she made it up on the spot. I sat on the edge of the pier with them. I don't know why I felt like I was safe. I just did. Usually I wouldn't trust people that looked like them, but I just thought that I hadn't much else to lose or do. I would have smoked with them, but they didn't have any fags on them, so we just talked for the most part. I don't really remember anything important. They did say they worked for a queen or something like that, but it wasn't very relevant. Eventually I told them I had to leave and find Marla, the girl I came here with. Lucian offered to help me find her since he was probably a better tracker than me. Someone bragging or something that they're better at something than I am really pisses me off. But I guess I couldn't argue since I had no idea where to look. Eventually we found Marla, and so Lucian walked us back to the portal, went home, and now I'm here, writing to you.